Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. So I'm super excited today because we have the amazing Amanda here to talk to us about a topic that I know so many women can relate to. We are talking today about multiple miscarriages, what it's like to go through them, what to expect. And Amanda is going to share with us what she wants women to know about multiple miscarriages. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Hi, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Yes. So first, before we jump in, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? What do you do?
Okay. Well, I am in Houston, Texas, but I married can you hear me okay, or is it echoing?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I married a man in the Air Force, and so we move around quite a bit, and we currently live in Alaska right now. So
Ooh.
we're in Anchorage, Alaska, which is also hilarious because we're having really bizarre warm weather, and it's snowing in Houston, which we're like, what? This like never happens.
Because
So
that
it's
makes
really
sense.
kind of a funny twist. But anyway, we move around a lot. We're here right now, and I have two boys. One just turned 13 yesterday. Oh my goodness. And then my little one just turned 5 last month. Yeah. So anyway, they love it. It's a, crazy place to live. I'm not going to lie, but it's also really a neat adventure. And then I have just kind of adapted my work over the years. I've been married about 17 years, and it changes every place I go. I keep adding new things, but all kind of revolving around health and wellness. And honestly, most of what I do professionally really has to do with all of the multiple miscarriages I have, and just what I learned through that, and those experiences, as challenging and tough as they are for anybody who has personal experience with that, there's a lot of beauty that has come out of it, even though it was really hard to see it at the time.
Yeah. Something
So anyway,
so life-changing like that. I mean, there's no way, right, that it can't just influence and really change the way that you go forward in your life. I mean, I think there's so many women who can say something like that change their career or change their dreams, or it just totally shifts everything.
It alters everything. And I think when you're in the moment of it, all you can see is the ugly and the brokenness of it. Yeah. And that's where you should be. That's, there's nothing wrong with that. That's exactly where you should be with it. But it is always interesting once you get some distance from it and can see maybe the role it played in your life and the different, life altering ways that it changed the paths of life. And things that are beautiful about your life now that wouldn't have happened because of that. And I know sometimes when you're in the midst of those struggles and you hear someone say like that, it can be almost annoying.
Yeah, you're just like, stop saying that. You know what you're talking about.
But I will say, yeah, there are certain things that are definitely takeaways from it that hopefully each of you, if you're in the midst of that, will be able to say eventually. So that's something that you can hopefully look forward to.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you went through.
Okay. So I had my first child when I was 29, the one who just turned 13. It was my first pregnancy, and just a very typical, for, at least what I knew, pregnancy, sick at the first part of it and ended up having a healthy child. Motherhood was very, rock my world situation. That first year was really, really, really hard.
Nothing prepares you for that, right?
I always tell people it's like you have your life and it's in like a pretty bowl and so perfect, and then just literally like in 1 second somebody comes, just like flips the bowl and your whole life just flies everywhere, and you're like frantic picking up the pieces. So it obviously gets better, but that first one, you just don't know what you're doing. So anyway, so it was so challenging. But the reason I bring it up is because I remember thinking, I'm a very type A person, like, oh, I want my kids to be 3 years apart, I need some time. Like the thought of going into it again and having another child was very scary to me. And I'm an only child, so I think I also just didn't really have the experience of siblings. And
sure.
So I just thought, okay, well, this is what we'll do. And, we'll have this next one. And it didn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. And I got pregnant eventually. It took a little bit of time. And so I just thought once we got pregnant, man, we're in the clear, because we hadn't had any issues before. I didn't have any health issues to speak of that I knew of. And then that pregnancy ended in miscarriage, and it was a missed miscarriage.
That's just like salt in the wound.
It is, because, you don't know that you're not pregnant. You think you are. And so I went in, it was my 12-week appointment. It was right after Thanksgiving. And I remember, if you have a miscarriage, and I know not to say that each one isn't significant, but for me, the first one, very, very vivid memories of it. I remember it like it was a movie. I can remember the moments of being at that doctor's office, the doctor's faces, the nurses' faces, the words, everything is very locked into my memory. And it was very much a turning point. I always kind of say that was my life before. And then once I had that miscarriage, that was my life after. It was a very significant moment in life.
Yes.
So it was very hard because miscarriage, like I said, I thought I was still pregnant. I had all the symptoms and everything. And then just was told that the baby didn't have a heartbeat anymore. And so it's devastating. And I always want to tell people, like, everybody's experience is different. So when you hear other people's stories, I never want to scare people. You don't want people to take that away as like, oh, it seems like everything is going well. It was, there's so many different things that play into it. Everybody's story is so different. Everybody's body is so different. And so, everybody's experience is different. So, but that was mine. And I just went downhill after that, just emotionally, physically, so many different things.
What was it like when you heard your doctor say that?
And I think my doctor at that point, and I move around a lot, so I didn't have the same doctors every
That's
time.
hard.
And so I didn't know her very well. She was a very sweet woman. I think I think she was a newer doctor, so it was a very new experience for her because she went into panic. And I remember, it was kind of that thing of, oh, we're going to listen to the heartbeat, and don't be alarmed if we can't hear it, because it's still early and we could, do a different, maybe do a vaginal ultrasound. And so when we went into that second one, I remember, just the look on her face. She left the room. Somebody, a technician or a ultrasound technician came in, and then they said those words. And I think now I look back, I heard those words so many times because I went on to have 7 miscarriages.
Oh my gosh.
In a row, with no real medical explanation as to why they were happening.
Wow.
And so, this is just one of those things. There's lots of things that I could say, and there are, so many things that play into this. But I will say too, not all my miscarriages were the same. So I had lots of different kinds. I had, a chemical, I had mist, I had a traditional, I had an ectopic, and I had them play out in different ways. I had 3D and Cs. I had passed naturally. I had injections of a cancer drug to try to save my fallopian tube. So it was just obviously a very tumultuous time. It lasted probably 5 years or so, 5 or 6 years. And really what I always try to explain to people too is when you have these miscarriages, there's obviously, and but the effects in your body are unbelievable. Your hormones, the hormone imbalances, I went into having crazy anxiety, panic attacks, depression, chronic pain, fear all the time. I was just very unrecognizable to myself, and so fixated on trying to fix it. And so I came to a point, I was not showing anything that was wrong with me medically that was showing up on tests. But at the same time, I was like, well, I know I can have a healthy baby because I had one. I know my body's capable of this. I was not that old at the time, even though they would say, maybe it's just that you're too old or your eggs are too old, which did not sit well with me. But, I just knew I was capable of doing this. There's something wrong with my body. It's not balanced properly. So some of that, and I always encourage people, is to really, really take your health into your own hands when you're dealing with fertility. Seek out these, people like you, people that are really trying to help you, because all of our bodies are designed to be able to have women to be able to have babies. And so finding those imbalances in your health and being able to restore your body, some kind of optimal balance, that's the key to be able to conceive and carry a baby to term and all those good things. And that's part of what I was saying before. It just kind of led me on this path to really what can I do to make my body healthier? Not what can I, and I, it's hard to separate this, especially when you're in the midst of infertility, but to separate that from what can I do to have a baby?
Right.
What can I do to be healthy and have my body working the way it's supposed to? Because when you do, that's kind of a side effect and a byproduct.
Yes. So just rewinding for a second, I know a lot of women that reach out to me who have experienced this too. And, I've been there myself. There's a point where you're in it and you're so far in it that you maybe start to wonder, is this just how the rest of my life is going to be? Or do I have options? And how did you get yourself to step back enough to realize, okay, there are things that I can do. I may not know what they are yet, but there are things that I can do that I'm not doing yet. How did you get to that place?
Well, I know for myself, I was having these miscarriages, and I just got to a point where I was like, well, this is just what I do. Like, I was almost more afraid of the idea of having a pregnancy that stuck, a pregnancy that, stayed around, than I was having a miscarriage. So I was like, well, I'm so good at it. I already, I know exactly what to look for. I know what to do. This is just what I do.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But
hey, that's how it happens, right?
It becomes your identity.
Yes. I can really relate to that.
And I had a healthy baby at home, and that's a whole different kind of interesting mix to it. If there's anybody out there who has that situation, because from the outside, you have a healthy baby. Why you have enough? Why are you trying to have more when you already have a healthy baby? And so that's just an interesting kind of side story.
That makes me so mad.
Well, and I get it, and before I went through it, I remember seeing other people and kind of having those thoughts, not in a cruel way, but just, and so, everybody knows out there, anytime you struggle with infertility, it really changes the way you speak to people.
Yes.
The way you interact with people.
Yeah.
But the thing for me, I was so in the midst of feeling so broken and sick, with the anxiety and just feeling like I couldn't live my day-to-day life without any kind of normalcy or joy. And I just remember one day thinking, I cannot stay this way. Like, I cannot live in this place. This is not normal. So that was for where my husband also said to me, I think we need to go see somebody. This has just kind of gotten beyond something that I can help you with, just somebody that we can talk to.
Sure.
So that's a catalyst, and I want to go. Of course I want to go, but I'm so glad I did. And I ended up seeing a counselor, and that led to a few different things of seeing a chiropractor, seeing a natural health practitioner, and just all those people where you felt like for you to get healthy and to just be happy and joyful, and to be able to really live your life again. That was kind of that starting point for me.
That's extremely powerful, because what it does is, I think when you're in it, you get, so like you talked about earlier, it's all about, let me get pregnant, let me have a baby. How can I have a baby? And you lose sight, for better or for worse, you lose sight of the rest of it, the bigger picture of your overall health, because that health is what's going to get you pregnant, help you stay pregnant, and then afterwards, once baby's born, to help you raise this baby.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to have that bigger picture perspective in the middle of all of this just blowing up around you is extremely powerful.
And I'm sure people relate to this. When you go through infertility situations, and mine was several years ago, and I feel like are just, they're the part of social media that can be so good. It can be an ugly place, but there can be so much good to it. And one of those good things is just being able to find these people who really understand exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because through it, you definitely feel you're the only one. Nobody really gets it. And you don't want to feel like a broken record, you know, having the same conversations with people who don't get it. They don't, you have to find somebody that really gets it. And so I do think that's important too, of being able to speak to someone that gets it. And then also if that's a counseling situation, because you can really express all of your emotions. I know I used to feel really guilty for things that I would think, things that I would feel. You see people that seemingly don't have issues with fertility, and maybe they're not the nicest people, and you're like, how, that's not fair.
Yes.
It's not fair. But just to be able to just get that off your chest and express all the emotions that maybe don't don't seem like good emotions or seem like things that you should share, because guess what? We are all feeling them and they're totally validated.
Yeah,
Really important.
absolutely. You're so, so right. Absolutely. Gosh, so I mean, thinking back to, well, okay, well, tell us about then at some point you did get
I
pregnant
did.
because now you've got a 5 year
Yes,
old.
I
I mean, you
did.
were
And
always
so,
pregnant, but
yeah,
you stayed
exactly.
pregnant.
I was always pregnant. It seemed like, I had so many pregnancies, 9, I guess, total. But,
Yeah.
it's like anything. It doesn't happen overnight, the changes that you're making to your body. But you are, even the little things, they are making your body healthier over time. And I always like to tell people, when I did get pregnant with my little one now, and he just turned 5, but it was just like every other pregnancy. Do you know what I mean? Like all these other ones that I had had. And so I just kind of was like, well, this isn't going to work out. But I will say, and I always really, really, really like to impress this upon people and stress this, is that I was able to get to this really great, healthy place of joy in my life before I was pregnant with him.
Hmm.
Because I, I feel so grateful that I had this quote unquote happy ending and had this second child. But there was this place when I really realized that, oh my goodness, like I kind of poured myself into some opportunities that I was given, really tried to embrace relationships, of course, was trying to restore my health during all this time, and really got to a point of being joyful and happy and enjoying my life and enjoying my family that I had already with my husband and my son. And that was, I think, a huge piece of it. And then was able to, and like I said, I got pregnant again, and then this pregnancy stuck, and I really can't even express to you why. Like, I was doing lots of things over the
Sure.
years. It wasn't one thing.
Yeah.
But I had a healthy pregnancy. Both of my pregnancies were boring, for lack of a word.
That's the best kind.
I know, and that's why it's like so funny. I had these bookends of these, pregnancies that were just whatever, no help, no complications, no anything, and then just this hot mess in the middle. And who knows? I always look back, I'm like, I'm not really. I can't, I can't pinpoint anything specific.
Yeah.
That was or is, but here we are, and I have this 5-year-old, and he's perfectly healthy and crazy and chaotic and all the 5-year-olds. And I am amazed at, like I said, there's all these good things that I get to do now because of it. But always try to give validation, because it is a ugly crawl on your knees kind of battle. And
yes.
So
yes, it is.
Own those emotions and those feelings, because they're all very real, and they suppressing them or hiding them or trying to pretend like they don't exist doesn't really do anything for your health either.
No. And in fact, it has a pretty negative impact on your fertility to stuff them in, pretend they're not there. Because instead of coming out, now they're in your body, which is exactly what you're trying to heal to get pregnant. So
exactly. Definitely plays out physically.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you tried counseling, you went to a chiropractor. What else did you try? Because I'm all about, let's throw everything at it. If it's that important, let's throw everything at it and let's make it happen as best as you can. So what'd you try?
Well, I also think too, you feel very out of control when your body won't work. And so doing things that are going to improve your health are always, I think, you can't lose. You're just going to, you can't help but benefit from it. And so taking those steps and just doing small little things are make you feel like you're being proactive, right? And there's something really, really great about that. So I did see a counselor, and that was so amazing, even though kudos to everybody who goes to the man. It's exhausting too, right? But it's so healing. There's so much growth that comes out of that, and very, very much of freedom of being able to just release all those emotions and thoughts. And then, so seeing a chiropractor, I'm a big believer. One of the things that I do, I'm a Pilates master trainer. So I've been teaching Pilates for probably about 16 years. So I'm big on alignment of the body, alignment of the spine, so that your nervous system can communicate properly. You know, there is a physical aspect that obviously connects to your reproductive system. So I
Yep.
just feel like, and there's a lot of, you know, healing that happens from chiropractic adjustments. It's amazing, you know, just the release and getting things working the way they're supposed to. It's amazing, all the things that are connected with that, physically, emotionally, mentally, so many things.
Yes.
So I had been having so much chronic pain that I had a lot of lower back issues, which is connected to a lot of the reproductive system as well. So that was one thing that I was doing. And of course, I was those things too. I'm always doing Pilates. And then I saw a natural health practitioner because I was really concerned about my hormones. I just felt like, I mean, granted, the roller coaster of carriages does such a number on me.
Yeah.
But stuff wasn't showing up on my medical test. You know, I kept being told everything was within the proper ranges.
Which is so infuriating.
Because you think, well, you know, what everybody, I
what
feel like
else is there?
different, you know, like, you know, whatever it was, the range was not good for me.
Yeah.
And so I did see a great, and she's now one of my best friends, and, you know, to just try to see if there were some supplements I could take, some things I could do to kind of bring things back in balance. And that was huge for my anxiety. Oh my goodness. You know, that was probably the worst thing that I was dealing with because I just could not feel any peace.
Yeah.
You know, and then I was, of course, taking a look at my diet as well, changing things like I needed, you know, more of a real food diet, try to get my blood sugar regulated, you know, took out a lot of grains, and just, you know, now I know a little bit more about it, but probably just really adapting to that whole foods diet. And people get, I think, a little overwhelmed by that, just the thought of taking those steps. But I always tell people, you know, listen, it's just really about eating real food. Don't make, you know, we don't need to make it crazy or harder or, you know, super specific. You'd be amazed at how much better your body feels and functions when you're just eating food that's not processed.
Right. And you just make the changes little by little, and you don't have to revamp the entire thing tomorrow because that's not going to stick either.
No, it's, I mean, it feels very overwhelming. It's that part.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to food, I always encourage people, because I know when you're sad, you want to eat things that are comfort, that make you feel good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's that balance of being able to say, okay, I'm still going to eat whole foods. And then, you know, the other thing that was probably the last piece that I kind of figured out was just really taking a good look at the products I was using around me, whether it was products in my home or my personal care products and things like that, because I believe wholeheartedly that those can really do some damage to your hormonal balance. And there's, you know, that's one of those things too, that I feel like you can have pretty good control over that once you know that behind it. And it, like I said, it always feels so good to be doing something proactive when you're in battles. And
that is so true.
You know, choosing some cleaning products in your kitchen, some soaps, you know, your shampoos, your makeup, just choosing things that you know aren't going to, are maybe a little safer to not mess with that perfect symphony of hormones that can be sometimes hard to keep in balance. That's something that you can do. And so there's a lot to feel good about, I think, when you're taking those proactive steps.
Absolutely. And taking those steps and getting back in control however you can is so good for your stress levels too, which is so critical to helping yourself prepare your body to get pregnant too. And so it's working physically and emotionally. It's kind of working all over to prepare that body, which is incredible. And it's amazing that you were able to have the sense and the ability and the perspective to be able to recognize that that's what you needed and you wanted to do. Because it can be really overwhelming. It can get to a point where you're like, I just don't want to do anything anymore. Forget it.
Right. You just want to
you're exhausted.
House and you're just tired and worn out. And I will say, I tend to be a little more introverted. You know, only child. I don't know what it is, but so when I go through tough times, my tendency is always to want to just withdraw.
Yeah.
And I've learned that over the years about myself. And so I know now that I have to fight. I have to make the effort to get out in the world more. And even though my internal that tendency is to stay introverted. When I do make myself kind of go out and do things and get involved, I am so much happier. I am, and that was one of the things that I did during that time. One of the moves that we made was back to Florida where we had been before. And I literally had a miscarriage during the move.
Oh.
And I mean, it wasn't my first, I kind of was used to it because I remember thinking, oh, I just need to get to Florida, like before this actually like is a thing. Like, cause but just to explain, like, it was just, and I remember I had to go have a surgical DNC. And when I woke up, I said, you know what? I want to open a Pilates studio here in Florida. And my husband was like, what? Like, like I woke up and our moving stuff had just, he was like, it's a long story, but they had lost our moving truck. So we didn't even know where our stuff was. I woke up in anesthesia and he was like, they found our truck. Like, that's great. I want to open a Pilates studio. And he was like, oh,
these are just the drugs talking.
Right,
okay.
you know, like, you get over it. But I did. And even though it seemed a little bit scary to me, it was one of the best things I did because I know everybody that goes through fertility issues is going to get this. You put your life on hold. Everything is about, well, I got to base my life because what if I'm pregnant? What if, you keep setting that timeline for yourself and then sometimes there's disappointments and you miss out on a lot of things. You put so much of your life on hold, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
So I will encourage everybody to do that because you know what? If it works out and you're able to get pregnant and stay pregnant and have a healthy baby, you can still do all the other stuff. So don't put that stuff on hold.
Yes.
So I opened a Pilates studio and I really think that was a huge part of my healing because I just poured myself into it. I had this purpose in life. It had nothing to do with my fertility struggle. It forced me to be around people and I loved it. And it was so great. It was such a good thing. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm so proud of myself for not putting life on hold.
Yeah. You started living again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that segues beautifully into the last question that I have for you is, what do you want all women to know about multiple miscarriages and struggling to get pregnant? I mean, this is a fantastic one of live your life, live, don't put things on hold for it. What else would you want them to know?
Yeah, obviously encourage that. I also will say I kept mine hidden for so long. I really didn't come forward about it. I didn't have anybody to talk to. It's different. So just the fact that if you are on this page and you're watching this, then you obviously have people to talk to. You can talk to me, but you have to tell people, you have to speak up about it. To keep it stuffed down is really, really unhealthy. And not just that, when you speak up, you'll meet other people. Cause I really didn't tell anybody until my first birthday. I told the world and I just had the blood open to people who, when I looked at their life, they looked perfect.
You'd never know.
You never know. And then they came to me with all these stories of their own miscarriages and stuff like that. So there's so many people who get it. And so when you speak up, you're just going to get that support. So I encourage that. Again, like I said, don't put your life on hold for things because that will hold you back and it will actually be, it'll be a stumbling block. It won't help your health. And then the third thing I will say is you may feel like you don't have control over what's going on with your life, and with your fertility struggle and things like that. But find the things that you do feel can be helpful steps to just improve your health and improve your life. And like I said, because sometimes that's all it takes to get to that point where your body is healthy enough to do all the things that you want it to do.
Yeah, it sounds unbelievable, but for so many women, that is their story, that you make the changes, you do things that feel small and you're like, there's no way this is going to make a difference, but they accumulate. And over time, sometimes that's what your body needed, is that cumulative effect of all the changes that you've made, the positive changes you've made to finally be able to get pregnant and have a healthy pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story today. Where can people find you?
Now, I have a blog and a business called My Well Balanced Life. And I don't focus on fertility struggles so much as I just focus on those steps that we can do to get healthy and to be happy and live, you know, these awesome lives. And so I have like I said, a website, which is just mywellbalancedlife.com. And then I'm on Facebook under the same name, and Instagram. But I'm 42. That's about as much as I can handle with like social media stuff.
I understand. It's just, there's a new one that pops up every single day. And it's like, I have to learn what now?
I know. Even Pinterest. I'm like, I am not a Pinterest.
Can't do it.
It's like a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all these different things. So those are
yes.
But I, you know, on my website, there's an email address. So, and I have some stories about my own infertility struggles, which sometimes just reading those stories and understanding that other people kind of get you, that's so helpful. So maybe there's something on to help you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I mean, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, that even so many years later, it can still be really right there with you. And I just really appreciate your vulnerability and just sharing all of this and showing so many women that they're not alone in what they're going through.
Absolutely. There's way too many people. That's my purpose, is trying to help, so there's less people that can relate to this story.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are watching, I'm going to link below. I have a podcast episode on how chiropractic can help you with your fertility. So I'm going to link that below so you can take a look and listen to my friend who's a chiropractor talk about how this can help you, because Amanda talked a lot about that in her personal experience of it. And you can reach Amanda at mywellbalancedlife.com if you have any more questions or wanted to reach out for any reason. She's right there.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, let's chat again sometime.
Let's do it. Sounds great. Thanks all. Talk to you later.
Bye.